Imagine walking into a place you haven't been for 20 years, and the moment you step inside, every memory rushes back at once. The laughter, the fights, the tears, the hugs, the family chaos. Now imagine that place is the Barone house. That's exactly what happened when Ray Romano, Phil Rosenthal, and the surviving cast of Everybody Loves Raymond stepped onto their recreated set for the first time. They said it felt like walking into the house they grew up in. And that emotional moment? You didn't see most of it on TV. Today, we're unpacking everything that happened behind the scenes of the 30th anniversary reunion. The stories, the surprises, and the moments that were cut for time. This is Xplained Daily, and here's what really happened. Everybody Loves Raymond isn't just a show. For millions of people, it's comfort, nostalgia, and family. So when CBS brought the cast back for a 30-year reunion, fans expected laughs, memories, and maybe a few tears. What actually happened was much deeper, much more emotional, and honestly, much more human. Let's walk through the reunion the way the cast experienced it. From the recreated set, to the tributes, to the surprises that even the actors didn't see coming. The reunion special opens with Ray Romano and Phil Rosenthal hosting from a familiar space, Ray and Deborah's living room. But here's what most viewers didn't know. The entire set was rebuilt from scratch. Everything except for one thing, the couch. Yes, the original Barone couch, the one fans saw for 9 seasons, was in Ray Romano's house for the last 2 decades. He brought it back for the reunion. Phil Rosenthal still had the kitchen furniture from Frank and Marie's house, and someone else owned the famous giant fork and spoon. But most of what you saw was recreated piece by piece by the original production designers. They spent weeks matching every tiny detail, colors, fabrics, props, and the kitchen layout. And here's the emotional part. Before the audience saw it, Ray and Phil walked onto the set privately. Their reaction? They froze, they stared, and both of them got emotional instantly. Ray described it as going back to the house you grew up in. Phil said it was like time travel. That entire moment wasn't shown in the final cut, but for the cast, it was the most surreal experience of the entire reunion. Right at the start, Ray and Phil made one thing crystal clear. This is a reunion, not a reboot. They wanted fans to understand that without the late Doris Roberts, Peter Boyle, and Sawyer Sweeten, a reboot would feel wrong. Ray put it simply, it will never be as good as when the show was thriving. They didn't want to disrespect the characters or the fans by pretending the Barone family could be recreated. The reunion was a celebration, not a restart. The cast shared plenty of stories on stage, but several emotional moments didn't make it into the televised version. The tributes to Doris Roberts and Peter Boyle were particularly moving. When they watched scenes of Marie and Frank, the cast broke down. Ray struggled to talk about Peter Boyle's advice from the very first episode, and Phil had to take over because Ray got too emotional. The tribute to Sawyer Sweeten was also profound. Madeline Sweeten and Sullivan Sweeten spoke about the loss of their brother and talked about working with the suicide prevention hotline in his honor. Phil later said it was the hardest thing in the world to talk about, but the kids handled it beautifully. He said maybe their honesty will help someone else. Those moments hit the cast and the audience hard. There's a funny moment fans didn't see. During filming breaks, Ray and Phil interacted exactly like they did 20 years ago. Phil joked, "I was giving notes in between scenes just like we used to. It felt like we were back in 1999. Ray said the whole thing felt weird, but comfortable, like they'd never stopped filming. Even the way Ray came through the kitchen door and Patricia Heaton came down the stairs was a deliberate nod to the original show. The audience felt like they were watching Ray and Deborah all over again. There was a Q&A at the end. The producers selected audience members based on written questions, but the cast had no idea what anyone was going to ask. One woman asked Brad Garrett to do Robert's legendary night club dance with her. Brad didn't know the question was coming, but the producers had the music ready. Brad had no time to prepare, but he still nailed the dance. Kind of. Ray joked that Brad only has one dance move, and he uses it every time. During the reunion, Ray told the story of how he nearly passed out while acting in the famous fly scene episode. But there was another injury he shared backstage that wasn't shown. Ray once sliced his finger open while filming a cheese-cutting scene at Robert's apartment. He needed stitches, and the audience waited 2 hours. Then he came back, finished the scene, and joked on camera, "You know what? I don't want any cheese. Classic Ray. The reunion special was 90 minutes long, but without commercials, it was only 66 minutes. The recording lasted almost 3 hours. Here's what got cut. Ray's 7-minute opening banter, Ray and Phil's first reaction to seeing the set, a touching segment about Ray and Phil's fathers, and extra stories from the cast. Quotes from writers and crew members, and more behind-the-scenes moments were also cut. They're hoping these scenes make it to the Paramount Plus extended cut. Fans always ask, what are your favorite episodes? Here's what the cast named: Ray, Talk to Your Daughter, Bad Moon Rising, Good Girls, Not So Fast. Patricia Heaton, Baggage. Brad Garrett, Lucky Suit. Monica Horan, Pat's Secret. Madeline Sweeten, Marie's Statue. Sullivan Sweeten, the finale's last scene. Ray said he rewatched all 210 episodes during COVID and ranked each one from 1 to 100. He said the emotional one still hit him the hardest. After the reunion, the recreated set didn't get thrown away. It was moved to a museum on Long Island, where the show is set. Fans can visit it, and there's talk of it becoming a traveling exhibit. Phil Rosenthal said one thing that made fans smile. In 5 to 10 years, if we're all still around, sure, why not? He said being on set again felt like a family reunion, not a TV special. If fans want more, the cast is open to it, just not a reboot. The Everybody Loves Raymond reunion wasn't just nostalgia. It was a reminder of why the show mattered: real people, real emotions, and real family chaos. And even after 30 years, the Barone family still feels like home. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to subscribe to Xplained Daily for more simple, clear explainers on the biggest entertainment stories.